MakingAScene.org brings you the music industry does not have a fan problem, it has a customer ownership problem. So picture this for a second. An independent artist sits in front of their laptop staring at numbers that, on the surface, should feel absolutely amazing, right? The new single just crossed 100,000 streams. A video has thousands of views. Last month's show completely packed a room, and the ticketing company scanned hundreds of people through the door. By every visible public measure, things are really happening. But then, the artist asks a question that makes the whole celebration go strangely, hollowly quiet.
Suddenly, it hits them. Despite these massive vanity metrics, they are completely in the dark. It's kind of the modern illusion of success. The artist has visibility, sure, but absolutely no relationship with the audience. They have activity, but no actual customers. They have numbers, but no business system that remembers where any of those numbers actually came from.
So I've got to ask you directly, who are these people? If you're that artist, do you know who actually showed up to the gig? Do you know who bought the shirt or who put the album on repeat? Can you identify who would actually return to your next show, or better yet, buy a special edition vinyl record? The stark reality is, you probably don't.
Well, why does this happen? It's because we live in a heavily fragmented reality. Just look at how the data gets split up. Spotify knows the streaming habits. The ticketing company knows who bought admission. Social media networks know who clicked the ad. Every single tech company holds a tiny, isolated piece of their relationship puzzle. And the artist? They're left with a handful of disconnected dashboards and reports that flat out refuse to talk to each other.
MakingAScene.org highlights this incredibly frustrating analysis of the situation. You do the hard work, right? You write the music, pay for the recording, shoot the video, drive the van to the gig. That massive effort drives people onto these platforms. But because the platforms collect all the detailed information, the artist ends up trapped in this absurd, expensive loop. As this quote perfectly puts it, you brought the guests into the room, but now you have to pay landlords via advertising just to speak with your very own fans.
Okay, so here's an absolutely crucial concept. Understanding the difference between rented reach and owned reach. Social media followers, playlist placements, paid ads, those are all rented. The landlord, the platform, can change the rules, alter the algorithm, or just close the doorway entirely tomorrow. Owned reach, on the other hand, is an exportable contact list. It's an artist-controlled website or a CRM. It's the security of knowing that if a social app disappears tomorrow, your ability to contact your fans does not disappear with it. This exact dynamic is why depth matters just as much, if not more, than sheer scale. I mean, 1 million anonymous streams? That might look spectacular on a press release or an Instagram graphic. But how do you invite those anonymous listeners to your next local show? You literally can't. 1,000 identified, repeat customers, people who willingly gave you their contact info and bought your merch, those are the people who will actually fund your next tour and sustain your career.
Now hold on, let's be super careful with our terminology here. Customer ownership definitely does not mean treating human beings like inventory. You don't own fans. What MakingAScene.org means by customer ownership is controlling the business structure around a voluntary, trust-based relationship. It means the fan has total choice. They say yes to your emails, and they can say no just as easily without having to hire a private investigator to find the unsubscribe link.
We really need to remember where the actual value lives in this whole equation. A fan might stumble on your track through Spotify or some viral TikTok, but they aren't falling in love with Spotify's logo. They connect with your voice, your lyrics, your story. The platform might make the introduction, but the artist creates the emotional value. It's your music that plays during their road trips, their weddings, or their most difficult years.
So how do we actually build that value? Well, we have to map out the fan journey. A lot of folks in the modern industry use words like follower and customer as if they mean the exact same thing. They absolutely do not. The fan relationship is a journey. It starts with an anonymous listener who might hear a song on a playlist. If they give you permission to be contacted, they become a subscriber. As you learn their city and preferences, they become an identified fan. And when they finally complete an exchange and spend money, they become a customer. Why is guiding people through this journey so important? Just think about the stark difference here. An anonymous stream is just one fleeting royalty event. You might get a tiny fraction of a cent, and you'll never be able to reach out to that person again. But a permission-based email or a direct text, that holds immense business value because it represents future possibility. You can share a release, announce a local show, or invite them to a private listening event. To manage all of this, you need a CRM. And yeah, I know, customer relationship management sounds like a boring corporate buzzword, but let's demystify it a bit. A CRM is simply the memory of the artist's business. It's just a highly effective way to remember a fan's name, their city, what communication they agreed to, and what they've bought in the past. It actually makes the artist more human by remembering that Maria attended 3 shows and bought the last record, rather than treating her like a total stranger every single time.
Once your business actually has a memory, you can build what's called a true artist revenue stack. This isn't just a chaotic pile of isolated dashboards where you have to remember 6 different passwords. A real revenue stack works together. Your artist-controlled website sits right at the center. Your direct commerce, memberships, live shows, and royalties all feed into your CRM. A show helps build a contact list. The contact list helps sell out the next show. They share a memory.
Let's walk through a seamless version of this customer journey. Imagine a fan, let's call her Alina. She discovers a song on TikTok, but instead of just clicking follow and disappearing into the algorithm, the video directs her to the artist's website. She signs up for the artist's fan passport to get early ticket access. She buys a ticket, checks in at the show using a QR code, and later, because the artist provided consistent value, she joins their recurring membership. See? She moves naturally from rented attention into an owned connection.
To make this entire journey possible, MakingAScene.org introduces the Making a Scene Artist Fan Passport OS. This is a brilliant mechanism designed to connect the dots. It links your website directly to fan profiles. It turns isolated show scans into trackable relationships using QR code check-ins for digital stamps. But most importantly, it clearly manages communication permissions, turning those scattered, fleeting moments into a cohesive, long-lasting relationship.
And listen, this isn't just for massive stadium touring acts. Let's say you're an independent act playing a local coffee house to maybe 40 people. You have a QR code at your merch table offering a live recording from that night, and 12 people sign up. Now, 12 people won't make the internet gasp, right? But when you return to that city 3 months later, you invite those 12 real identified people. They buy tickets, maybe one books a house concert, another buys an album. That tiny list creates connected, sustainable income for the next tour. But listen closely here, because none of this methodology works without trust. Trust is literally the currency of this entire system. You absolutely must be completely transparent about what fans are signing up for. You must honor unsubscribes instantly. Abusing customer data will completely destroy a career. MakingAScene.org explicitly notes the absolute necessity of following CAN-SPAM guidance for emails and respecting FCC rules for text messaging. True permission is ethical, it's legal, and it's vital to your success.
Now, since we're talking about modern tools to manage data, we have to touch on artificial intelligence, and MakingAScene.org dictates the perfect rule of thumb here. Good AI helps an artist become more thoughtful. Bad AI helps an artist become irritating at industrial speed. You can use an AI assistant to organize your data, group supporters by city, or draft really thoughtful follow-ups. But what you should never, ever do is use it to mass spam fake intimacy.
When we pull back and look at the big picture in this explainer, we see a massive juxtaposition. The industry constantly trains us to celebrate public vanity metrics, the clicks, the follower counts, and yeah, they look great to a venue or a sponsor. But it's the quiet, private customer history, the unglamorous back-end data showing who actually asked to hear more and who made a purchase that actually pays the rent and sustains a long-term artistic career.
The ultimate vision of adopting this mindset, it's about building a true music middle class. We aren't talking about playing some viral lottery where one algorithm arbitrarily makes you incredibly famous. We are talking about steady, multi-source income driven by direct fan repeat business. It's about achieving independence from industry gatekeepers and becoming largely immune to whatever random algorithm changes social platforms decide to roll out tomorrow.
So I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question to ask yourself today. How many real fan relationships does my business remember? And what meaningful reason have I given those people to return? Stop counting people you cannot reach and start building connections you can actually keep. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.